This month I was supposed to complete literally any single task and failed, but I did start a lot of things, so let's talk about that instead. So in last month's podcast, I mentioned that I had someone coming around to take a look at the basement and they were going to give me a quote on how much it was going to be. And I said then that if it was over a certain amount, then I wouldn't be getting them to do it, and if it was under a certain amount, I'd get them to do it. They quoted me £15,000 to fix the basement, and that was already a lot, but even that required me doing a hell of a lot of the work. So they wanted me to fit the electrical work they needed doing, which was 3 fused spurs to power 2 sump pumps and basically a fan, just to keep airflow in the room. They wanted me to do all the demolition work, so that's taking up all the old floor, removing the stairs, taking off the ceiling, all of that, detach everything from all the walls, that I could, anyway, because there's some stuff that you just can't, like the boiler, I can't take that off or anything. They wanted me to dig out all of the soil, and then that was all the stuff they wanted me to do before they came and did the job. And then after that, I was going to have to put in new walls and a new floor afterwards. And it was like, if it had been £15,000 and they did all of that, maybe I would have gone with it. It still would have been a lot, but maybe I would have gone with it. But it was £15,000, and I had to do all of that as well. So they were literally going to come in for 3 days, dig some trenches, and put up the plastic on the walls. They would fit all the stuff, basically, but all of the rest of the work I would have to do. And it was 15 grand. And I was just like, yeah, no, that's just too much money. The main reason I was getting someone else to do it is because I'm not confident using a disc cutter, it's the main tool you would use to cut through the concrete slab to run the trenches so that I could lay the pipes. It's like a circular saw, but massive, and for cutting through concrete. The rest of the work isn't that complicated, it's just not something I've done before. The rest of it is you dig out a trench around the room, lay what basically looks like gutters, then put plastic sheets over the walls, and that runs to the gutters basically, put a plastic sheet over the floor, and then all of those pipes run to a sump pump that you dig into a deeper pit, and then that would pump the water up and outside. And I was just like, the rest of it I understand how to do, I just haven't done it. And I understand how to use a disc cutter, I just wasn't confident about it. But when I frame it as, am I willing to spend £15,000 just because I'm not confident, it was pretty clear that I'm just going to have to do the job myself. So, I'm doing the job myself now. I'm getting some help, but I'm doing all of it. And it's a lot, but I've already bought, at least to my understanding, I've bought most of the equipment I need and spent about £500. When I say equipment, I mean the tools. So then I've got to buy the materials, which is going to be another probably couple of thousand, because just for the 2 sump pumps, that's like nearly 1,000. And then I've got to rent a disc cutter, and it's also a little bit awkward because I have to rent an electric one. Most of them are petrol powered, but because I'm going to be inside, I don't really want to be using petrol inside. I just don't think that's a good idea. So I've got to find a place. Well, I found a place, but I've got to rent an electric one. So I've got all that to do, but I'm going to have to do it. But it's not my job for right now. But the point I'm making more is that I've spent, even if we round up and say I've spent 1,000 on tools so far, and we say I spend another 5,000 even on all the materials, that's still only 6 grand. That's still half the price. Not even half the price. It's less than, isn't it? It's 2/5 of the price. That would also free up money to do other jobs. But anyway, that's not the priority at the moment, because I've got a load of other work that needs doing first. Since the podcast last month, I have painted most of the bathroom. A lot of it is tiles, so that's getting left. I've not painted the door frame because we're having work done in the bathroom, and I figure the door frame's probably going to get a bit messed up anyway, so we'll just leave it till after that. And there was a bit around the toilet I couldn't paint, but I can paint that now because I've now taken the toilet apart. I've not taken it off because the toilet basin is still there. I can't remember what it's actually called. But I've taken the cistern off the wall, and I've done 1 coat around that today, and I'm going to do the next 2 coats of that probably tomorrow. I'm also going to fit a new inlet and flush to the toilet, because it'll modernise the toilet a little bit. It was having some issues with the toilet. There's nothing really wrong with it, it was just being a dick, basically. It was just being really awkward to flush. So I was going to replace the flush, and I was like, well, if I'm going to replace the flush, I might as well replace the inlet, because I've got to take it off anyway. And the inlet was a really old one, and the new one is one I've fit previously on a different toilet anyway, so I know how to do that. So the entire job should not take me that long. I'm doing that now. We were supposed to be getting the shower fitted, but the guy just disappeared. I'm going to contact him again in about a week, but I'm removing the bath myself now. I'm in the middle of doing that. But in the process of that, I found out that the stopcock downstairs doesn't work, which is what you use to turn off the water to the house, which is weird because it worked last week. Last week I used it and turned the water off so I could remove something else. This week I've come to do it again and it doesn't work anymore. So now I've got to get a plumber to come in and do that, because I can do a lot of the work, but I can't do that myself. It's also more of a problem because we have another stopcock that will turn off all the water to the house. But the issue is that won't just turn off the water to my house, it will turn off water to the houses the next 3 down from us because of the way houses were made in the 30s. So I've got to tell them before it happens, which is just annoying. Oh, I've got a new sink, but that's going to be the last thing I do in the bathroom. I need a toilet, obviously, so I'll be putting that back basically as soon as I've finished, like painting behind it and everything. But I'm going to put the sink on last because I don't care about the old sink, so I don't care if it gets messed up. And I don't want to fit the new sink and then something happen to it, so I'm just going to wait. I also got a bidet, so I'm going to fit that as well. It's not too complicated, except this led to a hole. The bidet less so, but I got a new tap for in the kitchen, which I think I've mentioned before. It's like a glass cleaning tap. I've showed it in one of my videos earlier, actually. But it turns out that it's for 3/8 inch pipes, not 1/2 inch. I went on this big journey, and I'm not going to bother going through all of it because it was a piss take, and it ended up not mattering. I had to go buy a load of adapters, and then got them all home, and then checked them, and it turns out that it's this stupid thing where the tap comes with a T-piece, which is a 3/8 inch T-piece, but the tap itself is actually a 1/2 inch, so it has a 3/8 inch T-piece to a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter. And if I'd realised that before I bought all the rest of the stuff, I wouldn't have needed to buy it because all I actually needed was a 1/2 inch T-piece and a 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch, which just would have saved me so much time. So I'm going to go take some stuff back tomorrow and just get 2 of those because I need one for something else anyway. That was just such a piss take and it just went on for days, literally days. But I fitted some other taps. That went okay. I've got a mixer tap in the kitchen now, so that's nice. Because the kitchen was actually 2 individual taps, which I've always hated having individual taps. But we've got a proper mixer tap in there now. The water pressure's a bit low, which I might speak to a plumber about. But other than that, I'm happy with it. So I'm not going to complain at the moment. Oh, that's one thing. Because I can't turn the water off, I can't remove the bath properly unless I can find... I found an isolation valve for the hot water, although for some reason it's not an isolation valve, it's an actual stopcock because it's not a 15mm pipe, it's a 22mm pipe, and I just have no idea why. So the hot water's okay. I've actually already done the hot water. I can't remove the cold water though because I can't find an isolation valve for the cold water, which I assume is somewhere, but I just can't find it. If I can find that, then I can remove the bath. If I can't find that, I need to get the stopcock fixed before I even try, because otherwise... I mean, technically I could do it, but it'd just be pouring water the entire time, so that'd be a bit stressful. I do already have the blanking nut though. If I really can't find it, I might just try and do it really quickly. But I don't know. Maybe I'll turn all of the cold water taps on in the house, so they're all running at once. And that might give me a low enough pressure to just be able to swap them over quickly. But yeah, so I need to get that stopcock fixed, because the other thing is that I'm getting a washing machine delivered tomorrow. There is a pipe behind that the washing machine attaches to. The issue being that it is directly over a plug socket. So I was planning to cut that back a bit and but I can't do that because I can't turn the water off. This was supposed to be one of my jobs for today. The reason this annoys me so much is because, like I said, the stopcock was working last week, because I literally used it last week, because this same pipe had an issue with it last week when we came to remove the old washing machine, and we managed to fix it. Part of fixing it was turning the water off, so I turned the water off, we managed to fix it, and then we turned the water back on again, so we've had water over the week. And then in the week, it's broken. So I was supposed to get that fixed before tomorrow, and I'm not going to be able to now, which means I'm going to install the washer-dryer. It's a washer-dryer, not just a washing machine. I'm going to install the washer-dryer tomorrow, and then uninstall it in like a week, so I can fix that pipe, and then install it again. Things that are going a little bit better, though. Let's skip to things that are going okay. In the living room, there was a fireplace, and I always knew there was a fireplace there, but I didn't realise how far out from the wall it stuck, because there was like a big wooden box built around it, because we didn't use it. So I took the wooden box off and found out it sticks out for like 6 inches from the wall. I've noticed this weird thing where, like, if I know the correct measurement, I will use millimeters, or like centimeters, or, you know, metric. But if I'm just guessing, I use inches. I don't feel like I understand either of them better than the other, but I trust inches less, so I just make guesses in inches, basically. That's how you know how confident I am with something. Although, except actually, ignore that when it comes to the plumbing stuff, because I learned something about the plumbing stuff the other day where if it's threaded, it's measured in imperial, which is inches, and if it's a pipe or something, it's measured in millimeters. Don't know why you do that, but that is how they do it. And it means that like 15mm is the same as a 1/2 inch. So like I know that now. So if I use those terms, it's on purpose. Whereas the rest of the time I'm just guessing with things. I will use inches when I'm guessing. I don't know why. I noticed that I did that a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just more aware of it now. So yeah, the fireplace stuck out like 6 inches from the wall, and it was also covered in tiles. It was like completely tiled. The first thing was I managed to get the tiles off it. Luckily, I actually managed to get almost all of them off without breaking any of them. I got 37 complete tiles off it, 3 half tiles because they were already in halves. And then I think I broke about maybe 5 in total. I was actually pretty happy with how that went. But once you get all those tiles off, underneath is just a surround for a fireplace, and that is just made out of concrete and steel. That's just what they're made out of. And then I had to get that out of the wall. That is supposed to be tied into the wall, like screwed into the wall. Luckily for me, it just wasn't. I say luckily because it means it was a hell of a lot easier to remove. It should have been. Don't know why it wasn't, but I managed to get it out of the wall a lot easier than that. How I managed to get it out without hurting myself, I don't know. My plan was to sort of like slowly lower it down and like basically like squat it down until I couldn't hold it anymore and then just let it drop the rest of the way. And that is basically what I did, except the distance that I managed to get it down was not very much. It was very much not far. So it actually dropped a lot sooner than I expected it to. And not only did it drop, it literally landed on my legs. It landed on my legs and bounced off my legs. And somehow I'm fine. Like, my wife was there at the time and neither of us have any idea how I was okay at the end of it. But it didn't even hurt. It literally, I felt it bounce. Like, just above my knees on both sides. It, like, bounced. And I, like, popped backwards as it happened. Ended up completely fine. I wouldn't advise it at all. If it had been a solid floor, I actually probably would have just dropped it and just left it, because we're getting rid of the floor in there anyway, so I don't care. The issue is it isn't, because, like I say, we have a basement, so if it had just fallen, it could have just killed us. It wouldn't have killed anyone, but it would have just fallen through into the basement, which would have been a bit more of a problem. But we managed to get that out, and then break all that up, and then throw that away. I've actually kept all the tiles, because I'm going to see if anybody wants them. Because it's a load of 100-year-old tiles. I feel like someone might want those, but the actual concrete itself is all gone now. The next thing to do is to remove the actual, like, fireplace itself, what would burn. And also remove all the bricks surrounding that. The way it kind of works is the chimney breast is made out of bricks. When they're built with like a big square opening in the front. And then when you come and put a fireplace in, you put a fireplace in and then put new bricks around that as well. But I can remove all of the new bricks, which is what I'm in the process of doing at the moment. I can remove all the new bricks, pull those out, and get rid of the fireplace. And then I'll just be left with that square opening again. And then you just plaster over that with like cement, basically. And then if I really wanted to, I could get a new fireplace installed in there. But I think what I'm going to do for now is just we've got like an electric fire. It's like a freestanding electric fire. You're supposed to like stand it up against a wall or something so it looks like a fireplace, but isn't one. So I'm just going to stuff that in there. And that should be alright then. That's kind of the plan for now, at least. But I've only got as far as I got rid of the like surround. I got rid of all the tiles, like I said. And I've started knocking out some of the bricks, but I've not actually removed any of them yet. That's as far as I've gotten with that for now. It's just all taking forever. Like, we were hoping to be moved in by next month, and I don't even know when we're going to be finished with any of the jobs, let alone moved in. The only thing I'm thinking at the moment is that possibly once I've got the bathroom done, I'm getting a plumber to come and do the bathroom. Once they've done the bathroom and 2 of the radiators, because we've got a radiator for the bathroom and a radiator for my room upstairs. Once I've got the plumber to do those, we might start moving in then, because then we'll have most of a full house to live in. And it also means I won't be spending an hour and a half a day travelling just to do work for a little bit. I can literally just get up, go downstairs and do some work. So once that's done, we might try and do that. But no one knows when that's going to be, because the plumber that I was speaking to, every single time I've spoken to him has said, oh, I can do it in a few weeks. And then he'll say, ring me back and we'll arrange something. And I'll ring you back and he'll go, oh yeah, I can do it in a few weeks. And it's like, that's what you told me last time. So I've got a new plumber now that I'm looking at. So I'm going to see what they can do. But at the same point, I'm just going to be waiting a few weeks anyway. So who fucking knows? But I'd also probably get a lot more done if I didn't keep getting distracted by all the jobs. Like, if I could just get one thing done. Getting that room painted was the only thing we did for, like, a bit over a week. But now I'm, like, switching between doing the fireplace, or the painting, or the toilet, or removing the bath, or getting that new washing machine, and then there's the stopcock for the house that needs fixing, and then there's the electrical work that needs doing, and I'm going to run Ethernet, but we might change ISPs first, and it's just, I'm, like, constantly distracted, and it's all a mess, and I'm really fucking tired. I feel like I'm learning a lot about doing stuff, and I'm doing a lot of stuff that I know most people won't do, and it's all like interesting stuff, but it's just for every one thing that goes well, something else goes wrong, and it's just like really draining, and I'm just tired. As for the channels, Momodora ended, and a new LP will be starting next week. I've recorded a few of the episodes so far, and it's probably the weirdest I've done. It's actually really obvious what I've done, if you pay attention. It's weird more because of the way it's working. I'll obviously explain a bit more about that next month, once it's actually out. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but it's working. I'm enjoying the game, but it's a bit strange, and I'm not sure how it's going to go. there is a chance that I end up just dropping this LP, which I don't really want to because it would be the first game I started and not finished. So I don't want to do that, but there is a chance that will be forced to happen. But at least right now, it's working. I made a really weird video this month. I had no plan, honestly. Like, there's things I'd like to do, but I didn't really have a plan what I was going to do. And then it just got to the point where I was like, the only thing I can think to do is this. So I recorded a video of me digging. I said that the LP was the weirdest I've done, but this is definitely the weirdest video I've made. I'm just so tired of working on the house that it's hard to... In my notes, I've written it's hard to dedicate the time to making the videos, and it's not that, because I obviously still made it, and I'm still making everything else as normal. It's not that it's hard to find the time to make stuff, it's that I'm so tired it's hard to think at the moment, honestly. Like, I'm just having a hard time thinking, so I can't choose what videos to make, because I'm so tired all the time from stuff. And even when I'm not tired from working, I'm thinking about the jobs I have to do. So it's hard to, like, have good videos, basically. So I'm just, like, doing whatever I feel like, and I felt like doing something weird, so I did something kind of weird. And, I mean, I enjoyed making the video, but yeah, I've got an idea of what I'd like to do next month, and it'd be something in some ways new, and in some ways really, really old, but I've not properly decided yet, but I'm going to think about that and then start doing that if I need to. There's other videos I want to make, but I've only got 3 months left in the year now, and there's 2 videos at least that I want to make. I want to make a video about Dawn Trail, and I want to make my Game of the Year for 2023 video. It's just so late in the year. Besides those, though, I think everything's just going to carry on as normal. I am debating putting out an extra video on the Monday after this goes up, but I'm not sure about that yet. Mostly just because people keep asking me what my ratings mean for videos, like on TikTok. I don't think it's that hard to understand, and most people I've spoken to have understood, but every now and again someone will ask. So I'm thinking about just making a video to go up on Monday, just being like, this is what it means. Just because I'd been putting my compilations up then, but with those finished now, I think I might do that, but I've not properly decided. I'll make a video like that at some point. It just might not be on Monday, but it's going to happen. But yeah, other than that, everything's just going to carry on as normal now. Special thanks to all of my patrons. You can join them over at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, and for $1 a month you'll get to see what I'm working on early, and get exclusive roles in my Discord, along with other rewards I might think of. You can also just follow me there if you want to for free, as it's probably the best place to see all of my content as soon as it's available. There's links to the Patreon, along with my Discord, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, and all the other podcast platforms in the description for this episode. Finally, don't forget you can email me using podencastby@gmail.com if you've got anything you want to say. Thanks for sticking around. Bye. Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs, and Koopy Vegeta. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, check out my TikTok and Twitter @Holden Gatsby, and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to all of my channels. If you want more, you can watch my last video now, but if not, then thanks for sticking around. Bye.